Joining us now, he is a former BYU and NFL linebacker. He's also a BYU TV analyst. He is David Nixon. He joins us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. David, how you doing, my man?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
You know, we're just starting July off with a bang. This is like the back half of 2018. We're ready to roll.
We're just missing your voice, man, and your beautiful face.
Hey, likewise. I can't wait. You know, football, can you believe we're in July, which means T-minus a month. Next month will be full swing football time. That's what's up.
I'm excited. I was telling Jason, you know the emoji where you blush and you got the hands pointing out in the front? Like, that's me right now, man. I'm so excited because I'm just bored with my life.
It also means, David, you've probably got to get a lot of golf in the next month before football overtakes some of that.
Yeah, lots of golf is on the calendar, and we'll continue to go until August hits, and then it's go time. Then it's just you got to shift your mentality to football, and it's it's here.
David, you got to worry about us, man. You got to bring it. We know you just fresh off of vacations and stuff, so you don't got to worry about us. We worry about you, but we've been praying for you.
Yeah, I'll be ready. Don't worry. I'll get my mind right now in the off season.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of the off season, which I'm not quite sure if there really is an actual off season anymore in any sport, but what is the final month before fall camp like for the players?
It's a time that you really do want to get away from the game. I mean, keep in mind, these guys have been grinding from August all the way till now, really. I mean, you have spring ball, and then they start their spring semester, and they're still required to be around and lift weights and go to class spring semester. And then that's finished. And now this month of July, a lot of the guys, if you're from out of state, you head home. I remember when I was playing, I'd head back to Texas for a month. You still lift weights, but you're not lifting hard. You're just trying to get your body to recover a little bit. You still run. You still need to keep your conditioning up, but at the end of the day, it's a month to kind of get away from the sport, get away from BYU, and kind of get some alone time, and refocus, and kind of gear up and get ready for the next season. So this is a month that all players look forward to because you don't have to be on campus, you don't have to be lifting heavy weights per se. You're kind of on your own, and it's a time to let your body recover and like I said, gear up and get ready for the season come August.
Yeah, that's right, man. I always loved, July because it's a real recharge from everything. It's not just a break from football. It's not just a break from class. You get a break from everybody. Even teammates. So, David, we've been talking earlier about the goals that has just been blasted all over social media. I love the fact that they're visible. For not only for the players but just for the community fans to take a look at it. What were your thoughts when you first saw the goals that were posted online?
I know some of the team up north had some fun times with it, kind of throwing them around, just like we had fun times with theirs whenever they put them up. But I think they're spot on. Listen, you've got to get bowl eligible, and I think a lot of teams, around here and BYU in the past, we've taken it for granted, and we saw what happens last year when we don't become bowl eligible. It's a tough bowl season to sit around and not be able to see your team play. So bowl eligibility, getting 6 wins, and be able to go get that swag and enjoy an extra game and get some more reps for the younger kids, it's a big deal. And then, of course, protecting Lavelle's house. This was something that under Bronco he stressed big time. In fact, my last 3 years there, we went 18-0. We didn't lose a home game, and that's something this BYU team has to do. I mean, you're going to have, especially look at next year's schedule with USC and Washington rolling into town. You've got to set the precedent now that you've got to protect your home field advantage, and you've got to make it an advantage. You've got to have it to where when teams come play you, they're fearing that they look at your schedule and say, man, they haven't lost it for the last 3 years, and you've got to be able to have that on your plate. Win the rivalries, of course. That's something that everyone wants to do. That's probably the biggest one. If you ask the fans, you got to beat Utah and Utah State. Top 25 ranking, that's something BYU hasn't done for years either, is sustain that. I mean, we've cracked into the top 25, but have yet to be able to sustain it. And New Year's Six bowl game, that was a goal for us back in the day as well. That's obviously what you want to get to. That's the ultimate, right? But you've got to take care of those first few ones in order to even get to that stage. And so I think the goals are spot on. I think it's something that the players can look to and achieve and strive to achieve. But it's not easy. As we saw from last season, these are not easy goals. While it might seem easy to become bowl eligible, I think everyone's expectations have kind of been reset from last year, and it's something that, put in front of the players and saying, let's get to 6 wins. I think that's a good start.
Former Cougar and BYUtv analyst David Nixon joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Certainly last year's lack of offensive production was really what most people focused on. But the BYU defense statistically dropped in several categories last year versus what they did in 2016. The most notable areas were tackles for loss, where in 2016 they were ranked 25th, dropped down to 119. Sacks, where they were tied for 40th, dropped down to 111th. And then turnovers dropped down to 81st. How concerning are those numbers?
They're pretty concerning, to be honest. I mean, defensively, your whole defensive scheme is centered around the pressure on the quarterback, right? I mean, you look at third down conversions, fourth down conversions, obviously passing yards. All of that is dictated upon that front seven and how good of pressure they can get on the quarterback. It doesn't matter how good your corners are or how good your safeties are. If you cannot get pressure, if you give that quarterback all day to throw, he's going to find an open guy. And you look at those numbers, like you said, the fact that we were only averaging 1.3 sacks per game compared to the prior year, where 3.08. I mean, the production fell off significantly. And so if I'm the defensive coaching staff, you're doing a lot of self-evaluation this offseason. And you're looking at it and saying, okay, who are the guys that we can showcase? Who are your Ziggy Ansahs, your Kyle Van Noys, your players that can go out there, your Fred Warners that can go out there and make plays? And let's structure a defense around those guys. And for example, Sione Takitaki, how can we get him involved? How can we get stunts going to where we can get him one-on-one with some offensive linemen and let him use his athleticism to make some moves and provide some pressure? So that's first and foremost, because I am a true believer that if you can get pressure on the quarterback and force them into long yardage downs, then you can really get after them. And same thing, if you can win on first and second down, then you really put that offense in a predicament and in a bind. So I think that's a lot of the reason why this defense struggled last year. And frankly, going back to your question, offensively, there's no doubt that the BYU's offense struggled last year. And of course, that puts the defense in a bind because, the defense has to play a little more conservatively because, they know that if they go after the quarterback and he scorches him for a touchdown, then it might be tough for BYU's offense to come back and rebound from that.
So I was going to say the same thing, right? But as I started seeing these numbers and these stats, I mean, we talked about it, right, last year. But, I mean, these stats in these key categories in these areas, to me, it's so drastic, man. And to me, I really don't know, especially when you look at the same personnel that was coming back. I mean, you probably lose a major player in Kai with turnovers, that helps. But, I mean, is that a production from a production standpoint? Is it, maybe there's some variables like injuries? Is it play calling? I mean, it's so drastic, dude. I can't put a finger on it. What do you think it is?
Yeah, listen, I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination. The offense struggled last year, so defense was kind of left on an island, had to play a little more conservatively. I think there were injuries. There's no doubt. I mean, that was well documented, right? BYU's whole team as a whole suffered the most injuries I've ever seen before. So I think it was a perfect storm last year for not only for the defense last year, but the offense as well. And this is one of those seasons that you kind of saw at the BYU Media Day, right? Kalani Sitake, all the coaches are saying, listen, we're kind of trying to put last year behind us. We've learned our lessons. We're ready to roll and move forward. So it will be interesting to see what they roll out this year. And if they have more confidence with Coach Grimes now at the helm of the offense, if the defense is willing to take more risks and try to provide more pressure, do more zone and man blitzes and see what they can dial up. But it'll be interesting because there's no doubt that this team has to improve on those numbers because being 100th or worse in the league and in the whole NCAA, that's bad. You never want to be 100 or worse in any category, much less the most important ones, which I think are your sacks and TFLs.
All right, last question, David, and I want to end asking about a position that really doesn't get talked about a lot, especially at BYU, and that's the quarterback position. And I want four. That's 4 high fives I've gotten today. I like that. One I initiated, so that's 3, really. So I want your perspective, your own personal opinion, but then as a former player, how that affects the team. When would you name a starting quarterback? What's the benefit of having somebody named day one versus letting the process go out and naming somebody before week 1?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer you've got to name them at least 2 weeks before your first game. And some coaches love to play the whole, up until the day before we're going to name the starter. I don't like that. I think you've got to establish a leader. There's no doubt that the quarterback is your leader of the team. right? At least of the offense. And so I think the team needs to know who that guy is, but I also don't think it's smart to do it before camp starts because I think that takes away the competition aspect of it. So I would love to see them all battle out for those first 2, maybe 3 weeks, but at least a week. I prefer 2 is when you name the starter. The whole team's on the same page. They can rally around that guy, as well as the staff. Then the staff can start to put together the actual game plan that fits that quarterback's, his abilities the best. So that's when I would name him. I mean, we'll see what this coaching staff does. I wouldn't be surprised if they name that quarterback internally, but they wait to leak the name till later, so Arizona doesn't have a jump start on whichever quarterback's going to be rolling out there against them. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, that is obviously the battle that everyone's looking forward to come fall ball, is see who kind of emerges at that spot. Because listen, let's be honest, this team is going to ride or die with whoever's in that quarterback spot. That's how it is in the game of football. That quarterback drives everything. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that position and how that offense kind of gets shaped around his abilities and his talents.
David, great stuff as always. Appreciate the time. I assume if you're not golfing today, you'll be golfing soon, so hopefully that goes well for you.
Yeah, that's always the plan.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.
There you go. David Nixon on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.